All right. I wasn't sure if I was going to be up this early or not after staying up till 3 last night. Hey, I gotta get the chat popped out here so I can actually see. Investable. Good morning. At 6, yeah. I have the same thing a lot of the times. Our cat will wake me up, especially on my wife's overnight, where she works an overnight shift. Otherwise, they are all about her. She's not home. I get the wrath. I didn't hit the light here. So this morning, we're going to do a typical 3, 2, and 1 roll hunt. But we are first going to do a pocket change check like we usually do. Last roll hunt stream was less than impressive. In fact, if I remember right, the first nickel roll, we got skunked. So we'll see what this morning brings. We got the coffee going. Yeah, I was up till, I think I streamed until 2 o'clock. I started going through some 1970 pennies just to knock those out of the jar. So yeah, because they want to get fed, right? Investable, or she wants to get fed. That's what ours is all about. All right, pocket change check. Where this is where I just I throw pocket change in a separate container, and then I just grab for each stream a 99 Georgia. I don't know if there's any errors to look for on that. 79. Looks like I got a couple quarters in the mix this morning. 67. Close to silver. A 68. That's an S. That is an S. 68S. Let me check my nickel. I don't think it's low mintage. I just think it's odd. I don't usually see S's. $100 million. everything looks pretty normal to a 68. Philadelphia. 07. Big Sky Country. I get chat back. Every time I change screens and stuff, I lose chat. Uh, 84. Really looks fairly decent. This has got to be a 2020 something, yeah. Ooh. Hard to even tell without putting that one under the scope. G 23. How many cats do you have? We've got 2. Hey, that's a 74S, huh? Yeah, I would call that a 74S. Where are we at with that one? Cat 74S. Oh, I'm on. That's why that seemed odd, because I was on Nichols. Forgot to switch around. That would make more sense. 400 million. It was on Nichols and it said 2 million. I'm like, how is there only 2 million in that, man? Jack Stacks, good morning. Thanks for swinging through. We are only on the pocket change check, so we're going to be going to the rolls here shortly. 78. 4 coins left in the pocket change check. 23 D looks naked eye, looks normal. 01. I think there's some die chips you could find on the wings of the plane and stuff. I think they call it like a burning plane. And then the Hurt My Eyes dimes. 76. That's pretty normal. I don't hunt dimes. I don't really collect dimes. Something about dimes that I just don't really like that much. All right, let's see. Let's get into the 3, 2, and 1. Let's see if I can open these in a little better way. Maybe get a roll a little bit better. Try to keep them together and maybe get a roll out of them so we can see any ends. I don't see anything sticking out there as color. And I kind of lose them. A couple darker ones, maybe. Kind of there, but all right. So let's see if we can get a hit or 2 out of this. I need to move this back to nickels. So we can check the mintages if we hit something. How you doing this fine morning, Jack? 78, and then give it the flip just to make sure we aren't missing a naked eye error. 87. Almost caught me as a die crack or something there, but I'm guessing probably most definitely not. 91. Billy? Make you go, oh. 99D. 16D. Couple older looking things in here, but we'll see. We'll have to see. There's a 64, so probably a Denver. And it is. So that is the first. We'll put that in right there. So there's the first. Put it right on her thumb there. Better than the weather's been raining. Yeah, we've kind of got that too. We've got it coming for the next, at least the next 3 days, I'm guessing. And it's raining right now, so that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a hunt this morning. I got a little bit of work to do tonight, and then I may do a after dark tonight like I did last night, just getting through some scoping of the stuff that's not been already pulled and scoped in a hunt stream. 97D. So I think it's going to be good hunting weather for the next 3 days for sure here. 1D. 79. I don't know, I just like hunting these. 77. Yeah, for a second I thought maybe that was a S, because it was a really decent looking coin, but it's not. It's a D. I just like doing the 3-2-1 hunts, where we jump on for a morning, do 3 rolls of something, 2 rolls of something, and then 1 roll usually of the dollars. Rather than sit and do a whole box and make a big long video out of it. And by me doing a little bit smaller hunts, it allows me to keep up on my scoping of everything a little bit more consistently. 2023P. $75. This looked like a little older. Oh, there we go. We're into the 50s. 52 Philadelphia. That's 64 million. You actually you're looking for the D there for 30 million, but that's actually a good hit. But not to the point of giving it the hit button. 17. We give 40s the hit button for sure. That didn't even really look extremely old. It's a fairly good shape 52. 96. 23. Another 23D. 97. Could be older. 64. 64D, so that makes our 60s. 19P. And 83 Philadelphia. 71 Denver. 13. 2. I'm gonna guess that's just a D that's kind of globbed. 06P. And usually the hunt streams will, only last an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most here. 73D. A toned of some sort. Kind of got cool toning to it. 17. 88D. And the last one for this roll is going to be an 18D. A lot of times on these newer ones, I'm just flipping them over because I'm just looking for, an outstanding die chip on the ends of the building or something, that beehive. All right, so 3 pulls from the first nickel roll. Go into nickel roll number 2. Doesn't look like there's anything overly exciting on the enders. I know the view isn't very good on this overhead, but one darker one in there. Right there. Probably nothing but just a warn. I think I caught that. I did. One took off the table from me. 16P. 02 Philly. I don't think I've hit a 2024 Philly yet that everybody chases and people are going crazy for on eBay. D 91D. $79 Philly. 76. It's always confused me as to why they didn't do something on the nickel in 76. Like the 76 bicentennial quarter. 79. Six. A gunked up 15D. There's a gunked up something. 02 Philly. 88D. B. Here's an 05. the Ocean reverse version. Another 05. Same thing. This looks like might be a little older. 64. So that probably saves the roll because we were getting down there. We probably weren't gonna have a pull from the roll if we didn't hit that 64. $13. Nothing standing out. 79. Actually, kind of a nicer looking 79 until you get to the back. 83 Billy. A lot of gunk in these, at least in this roll. That looks like it could be an older one coming up. Another Ocean. Another 64. P? Nope, 64P. $90. It's good on that side. A couple more coins and then I gotta take a sip of coffee. Let's see. 12D. For a second I thought I saw it crack, but it was just my eyes. 2000P. A little bit of rotation. I thought it was much more. How long have I been muted? Not that I was saying anything insightful. All right. Well, we didn't check enders. One newer on the ender there, and one newer on the ender there. You were born in 64. I was 75. So I tend to sometimes keep some of the 75ers, especially if they're in nice shape. But a more darker one there. Does not look silver for sure to me, but I don't know. I don't really buy into that whole you can call them off the side. Well, sometimes you can. But some of them that like legitimately trick you half the time. Last roll of nickels. Then we got 2 pennies and $1. Like usual. I'm going to start throwing some quarter rolls into the mix. Occasionally in the mornings. I always think there's a rotation error because I must spin it in my fingers sometimes. See, that's pretty good. Usually I'll catch them if they're there when these all get scoped. we're doing so good. So far, so good this morning. Last hunt stream, first roll was a skunk. All we gotta do is get a 60 or better out of this, and we've gone through the 3 nickels for the morning without a skunk, so that's better than. But nothing looks like it's got extreme age, so we might be in a little bit of trouble on this roll. 78. Yeah, I have. I think some of it is the fact that I still don't have a $50 roll. I haven't picked any up yet. Some of it came, my pivot into coins hard came from finally deciding I'm gonna have to start going through that collection that Gramps left, and then once I started doing that, it just hooked me. And then I think in a conjunction to that, Coach, was the fact that Magic is kind of, I don't want to say completely lost my interest, but has, there just hasn't been any sets that I've gone and been like excited to go hard into and stuff. 83D. Is that a rotation? No. I mean, Magic. I'm still gonna open up Magic. You're still gonna see me open up Magic on the channel and stuff. Just not probably as much, you know. And you're right. I think my channel has morphed, completely, probably more into a coin channel now than anything, just with how much fun I'm having with it. Good morning, Coach. Should have said that first. I know I said I was going to get some halves for you, and I eventually will. This weekend, I'll turn some of my turn-ins and ask for some halves. Get a couple rolls. I'm not a big halves fan, like I said before. So when I do halves, they'll probably take the place of the $1 roll, is what I'm kind of guessing I'll do with the halves. Well, you're not wrong there, Coach. And I will say, the one thing about this hobby, this particular hobby right here, is you don't lose any money. And you just continually get to do the hobby and go through things like this because you're just recycling money for money. So it's pretty cool that way. But like I said, you're still going to see cards. Well, I did an After Dark last night with Investable hung out, and I had some cards I opened and stuff. 77. But the cards are just going to always be on an After Dark going forward and stuff. I think I was saying last night, if you look at the thumbnails of the lives, if it's a coin thumbnail, it's a coin stream. If you see an After Dark thumbnail, it could be all over. It's going to be some coins, obviously, but there's going to be some cards probably involved in After Dark streams, which are going to be the late night streams. And I think we're going skunk on this. 2 left, and neither one of them are going to get us a 60. Oh my goodness, the last coin. I was just going to hit the I was just gonna hit that button, and we end up with a 63. on the last coin. I think it's the last coin on my mat. It is. And it is a 63 Philadelphia. Not scrolled down far enough for nothing extremely cool. Just a 63 that keeps us out of skunk. So there is the three. There's the 3 nickel rolls. Almost skunked at the end. We went downhill as we went. That's funny that I almost skunked it on the, and then I'm saved on the last coin. Now, if I was like most collectors and only did 59s and earlier, then that would have been a skunk. But I do enjoy saving my 60s. All right, we're starting on the pennies. I should start weighing penny rolls before we open them and seeing if we can determine how many coppers are in there, but it's kind of more time than I want to spend. Couple gruddies on the end. Couple nice ones looking. I mean, there's obviously going to be probably a couple coppers in here, but unless it's a 60, it does not get saved. It'll go in the, you know, like any 70s go in the 70s jar. Definitely something there. And that is definitely grud. Who knows what that is? It looks like an older one, but are we gonna know? 2000 something. '82D, the transitional year. 5. Now, not a bad looking 81. I think sometimes this camera view skews how good a coin looks sometimes, but that is not a bad. Probably definitely got some red left in it. Probably would grade out of red, red brown maybe. 68D, so there's our first 60. I gotta make the switch over to my Lincoln cents. $74. Denver. And every time I do that, I lose chat. Another 68D. $2,000. $2. $84. So just out of the copper era. $70. I don't know if I've really hit a naked eye error yet, to where it's like as I've been looking at it, you know, and doing the flip, that I actually hit an error. I've not really hit a rotation error to the point where on the rotation I'm like, oh, got a lot of rotation. There's the birth date for me, 75, 81, 96. Nice looking. A lot of the 2020s are still in pretty good shape. You usually find them still. Another birthday. Sometimes I think I got a little bit of a rotation, but when I check it close, it really isn't there. I guess you can find some crazy rotations on these newer shield scents. I have not seen any yet. I think it's going to be a long time before we beat that old find of the year there, that 1907. It's going to be a while before we probably hit a hunted coin that replaces that up in the corner. You know, unless it's an error for some reason that does it. 70D. No 2009's anything yet. There's an 08. Got close. Nice looking 08. 91D. This looks older. 67. So there. We're at 360s in the first penny roll, so nothing wrong with that. 76. Like I said, most people don't consider 60s anything, but I do here on my channel anyways. 71. Nice solid rim on that one too, yeah. Down to the last, looks like 6. Here's a 68. So penny roll number 1 is going to be a 4 penny. A 4 penny pull. Using a term from the card collecting world. And it looks like the last one's going to be a shiny 2020 something. 2022. All right, 4 penny pull on the first penny roll. We got one more penny and we'll do one more dollar. We'll do the $1. Nothing better than the 60s in the first penny roll. When we hit that 1907, it showed up. I saw it fall out of the roll, actually. And I don't see anything that's out of the ordinary coming color-wise. A little bit of darker color there. be anything sitting there. Sticking out anyways. 7. Sometimes I forget to do the flip. 2 97s on the end. Let's see, is this a third 97? Nope, 70D. Get into some color. 22. 91. I would have almost guessed that to be copper by the color. 91. That is a 2000, but it has seen better days. Is that a little bit of rotation? Just a little bit? Nah, not really. A very green 80. Very green 80. There's an 09. Which back is it going to be? Professional days? Or formidable? Or whatever they call that, man. We give all the 2009s a hit. That's really kind of the only one that's going to come out of a roll that's going to go as a hit beyond the 60s and earlier. It's just a 2009. Here's a 70D. And that 9 is not in bad shape. 8. 81. 88. 82D. Got a little bit of grain look to it. Started north and south. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. Camera picks it up at all very well at all, but a little bit of grain, eh? Not so much on the reverse. A little bit on the obverse. 80. 06. 97. Looks like we got a little bit of maybe older or copper color coming. With any luck. Right now the only coin that's been pulled is the 2009 out of this roll, so. Oh, 06. A 13. That was one of the colors I thought were coming to beat up. A beat up 70. Looks like that was a 70D. Another seen better days coin. $83D. Kind of a minty $83D. I'm going to set that one aside just because it's a good looking 83. 92D. kind of weird coloration. I'm not gonna call that any lamination error though. I think it's just something different. Maybe when it hits the scope in a scope stream. $98, $68D. So there's the first 60 or earlier hit out of the roll. Not an overly impressive penny roll in any means. 72 with some kind of corrosion. Looks like we might have a couple options for an older one coming here at the end. $94. 2007. 3 coins left. 07. Another 07 and a 78D. That looked very copperish sitting there. So. All right, there is the. I guess we can go right up to that camera screen there with the rolls. So two pennies out of that roll, the 09 and the 68. That's it. All right, one drink of coffee here, sip of coffee. And we are going to do our $1 roll. Looking for NIFCs or anything cool. Since I'm probably one of the few collectors that actually don't mind Susan B. Anthony's, I will always take Susan B. Anthony's. There we go. Went mute again. I was saying I'm a fan of the dollars. Susan B. Anthony seems to just be despised. Thomas Jefferson, I think that's a 2007 early. Hey, that's my first Ulysses S. Grant. It's a 2011, so it's 1 year before NIFCs. But because we are a fan of Grant, I am going to give it the hit. I want to say these are 11s. Yeah. 2011 D, so collect kind of Ulysses S. Grant stuff. So, and that being the first one of those, I'm going to call it a hit. A pretty good looking Washington as the very first of the series. Franklin Pierce, I forget where his date falls. Yeah, 10. I knew it was getting close to the 12 not intended. And this should be a Native American, the treaty. We've pulled a couple of these now on the channel. In fact, if I go over to the fines, yeah, I've got it listed at, we've got 2 of those out of fines for the year, so probably, well, I'll end up making that a times 3, but and here is our Susan B. Anthony, and it is a 79, but it is a D, so we're not going to be looking for the wide rim or near date, but everything kind of looks normal on that. Garfield. So definitely presidents leading the way on the dollars, at least for the count. Grover Cleveland. I don't know if that's a 12. Let's see. Gonna be hard to see. I'm gonna the dates about gone. I don't think he's later than 11. Oh, he is the first. No, he is in the first year of the NF, and I do it every time, almost every time. NIFC. I want to call it NF for some reason. So, did we see which one this is? Because a little bit lower mintage. Did we make out the? It is a D, so Grover Cleveland D is going to be at 3.9 million. And it's, I mean, it's probably not quite mint state, it's probably AU, but still a low mintage hit. Thomas Jefferson. Another Thomas Jefferson. $2000 D, it's the Philadelphia that you're looking for the Cheerios dollar, so you're not going to see it there. Another 2000 D. John Adams, one of the first couple coins. There's a Lincoln. So there's a 2000 P. We'll throw it under the scope, but probably not got enough life left in it to see. This one definitely does not have enough life in it to see tail feathers. That's a well-worn one. Another Garfield. Bulk. Last couple dollars. James Madison. Another 2000p that's probably going to be too worn. You could have the Wounded Eagle maybe on this one still, but tail feathers are probably going to be too worn to tell, but we're going to look at it. Franklin Pierce. A early George Washington, and one more Martin Van Buren. I should have been looking at the edges of all of these to make sure they're got edge lettering, but it's something I do later anyways. 2008D on the Buren, so. So there's the presidential Sacagaweas and one Susan B. Anthony for the role. Nothing crazy out of that. I'm going to switch over to the scope and we will throw the hits under the scope for the morning. I don't know if anybody's still hanging out. And we got, I don't know, a dozen coins to throw under here. We'll go over to the scope. Try to get a good view set up. All right, we'll look at these tail feathers quick. Jack's still here. All right, sounds good. Yeah, tail's pretty much gone on that. A little bit of gouges, some after mint damage on the eagle, so. Nothing gonna stick out there. Vestibule's still here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Yeah, so that is a P, but this one's not as bad though. But yeah, tail feather detail pretty much gone, and doesn't look like there is a Wounded Eagle, so quick check of those. Alright, I'm going to pull up we will do our nickels here. Where did I put my, there we go. So 64D. I know that a 64D has got the possibility for a repunched mint mark, but looking pretty worn. Give it a die chip check. Boy, if that was better. There's a couple different versions, I think, of this repunched mint mark possibility. If that was in a little better shape, I'd analyze that a little bit closer, but I'm not gonna bother, because this is a prime example of me having to talk myself into it, I think, and I don't want to go down the road. Someday could have been, is where I will. So here's the 52. I forget what this was. Is this? So 52 Philadelphia. I don't have anything in my notes on a 52 Philadelphia. So we'll just give it the regular checkup. At some point it was probably an ender. Both of those come around the building. So I don't see anything there. D. Nothing there that's gonna stand out or be able to be seen. Another 64. If I remember right, 64's got a pretty high mintage, so 64 seems to be a nickel we hit quite often. Definitely are not going to be able to call that one. No outstanding die chips or cracks. $64. This was a P. Well worn. Better looking condition 63. '63 has got a couple different things available on it. A reverse double die on the E pluribus. A triple double die. The D, let's see. Is this a D? Yeah. This is the P. So the D had a doubled 6 in the date. This is kind of a nice looking 63 regardless. Compared to what you usually get. Well, you could start talking about doubling in Monticello for sure. But I don't know. I think this is definitely a set aside. I don't think it's doubling though, because when I look at those L's, yeah, I'm not gonna call it doubling. I mean, you have it kind of around both. I mean, the O almost looks like it's got like triple, and then look at up here. I mean, I think there's something going on there that's more than strike doubling. But I don't see a 63 in my notes where it's talking about any type of tripling. Well, actually, I have in my notes 63 TDR, which could be triple die reverse. This is definitely going to send us to the book. Because I got to see. We got to go into the nickels. So 63 says there's double dying up in the E pluribus. I don't know if I see that. Nickel book here. Jefferson Nichols. We're gonna go to another book here. This is gonna take a little research here. Just hold on, because there's something going on here. I mean, it could be after, post-mint damage. That could be post-mint damage. Because like on the E, I'm not seeing doubling on the E. I'm seeing... Yeah, something's weird with this coin. This is kind of sending us down a rabbit hole this morning. Okay, so here's what it says. So on the 63, there's a triple die reverse. The reverse die is tripled, most evident on the E pluribus, with doubling to a lesser extent on most reverse lettering. There are many double die reverses for early 60s circulation strike. Jefferson Nichols. This is one of the nicer ones. Yeah, I don't think... Here's my take on it, Investable. I don't believe that what you're seeing on this O, these extra lines in here, And then you see how you got this one here, and then you've got some other ones that, you know, that I don't think somebody can do that. These coins, it's just too small of a thing to be able to pull that off. And with the fact that there is, you know, there is the known triple die up on the E pluribus, you know, I don't see it there as much. But even the book says it's throughout the reverse side lettering. Let's go down, check some of this United States of America. I really don't see it a whole lot in the United States of America. But even the first O in Monticello. You know, and can you argue there's extra N's there? The last S in states. Yeah, it definitely has, you know, thicker. I think this is a legitimate double die. I think. I don't know. Well, and actually it's probably a legitimate triple die. And the one that is documented. I don't know, Vegetable, what do you think? You think we hit something? I mean, there's doubling in the S even of cents. Like I said, I don't like to talk myself into errors. But look at the O. To me, that right there says that it's not strike doubling or machine doubling, where it's just slicing some off of the letter and making that lower edge. To me, those are doubled on a known triple die coin. Let's go back. $63. Yeah, see, yeah, I think so too. There's really nothing on the obverse that stands apart. But I think this might be a good... I think that might be a good find. I'm going to give it the hit button just until somebody with expertise tells me I'm crazy. Yeah, I saw the 3. I just don't know if that's something that's well known. Yeah, very odd upper part of the 3 there. Regardless, I think that's a good find for the hunt. And to add to it, a very good shape 63. I mean, that's not a bad shape in any means, so. All right, we're calling that one as a pretty good find in my book. Let's go on to the pennies. We got 6 pennies that we pulled. I don't know if there'll be anything in the pennies. to look at. Yeah, condition is great. So I think we did pretty good on that nickel. I'm gonna research it a little more. Maybe even take it in, have somebody with real expertise take a look at it. 68D. What do we got in our 60s? Really nothing to look for. Let's just give it the condition checkup. Typical checkup. Dye chips, cracks, anything else? Don't see anything there. $68D. 68D's got a repunched mint mark D over D kind of to the west, but it is definitely not there. Supposed to be doubling in United States of America and E pluribus, but I don't see anything there that is gonna cause us to get excited. Pretty normal there. 3 pennies to go. Another straight up 68. Nothing there. Here's the 09, but there's the only 09 error that I really know of comes off of the formative years and the extra thumb. So I mean, you could always find a dye chip, I guess, here. Not a bad condition looking 09 from the naked eye sense. Definitely not anywhere near gradable. And another 68. So it was a morning of 68s in the pennies for sure. All right, and we'll take a quick look at our $2. Here's the Grover Cleveland NIFC. What did I say? About 3 million when we pulled it out. Nothing crazy there. No dye chips there. I guess there's a lot of documentation about a dye chip being in this corner from this spike to her arm, and maybe even down here. And that's on, from what I understand, that's on several different versions of the presidential dollar. I've seen some people talk about finding die chips up in these spikes and stuff. So that's why we look. That's why we just give it what I call the general checkup. Not essentially truly a hit, but a hit for me since I'm a Grant fan. 18th president. Nothing out of the ordinary on the obverse. Give it a flip. Like I said, I don't think there's anything real known that you're looking for other than those couple die chips. I eventually want this coin, like, probably graded. Not this coin, but I want a copy of a Ulysses S. Grant in a slab at some point. And it's probably going to be, you know, just a buy it thing for me where I'm going to try to get it in 69 or 70. You know, like you get a proof coin in 70. That'd be cool. All right, that's it. There's our checks of the polls. Go to the overhead. I think probably the coins of the stream for me. You know, there's nothing major that stood out. Let me grab this, switch this up. We'll put a bow on. Put a bow on the stream. So for me, this morning, about perfect for a morning hunt. What I now call the 3-2-1 hunt, with a little bit of extra stuff in it sometimes. So for me, the Grant, you know, not an NIFC, but just as a Grant fan, that was a hit for sure. The 52, just in year wise, in my opinion. And then for sure, I mean, you can see the niceness in the 63 still. This 63 possible triple die reverse. We're gonna have to go, and this coin will probably be talked about some more on the channel at some point. But there's the 3 for the morning. I am going to call it a stream. I'm going to call it a hunt. Everybody that stopped in this morning, thanks for swinging in. As always, probably the most regular guy I got that hangs out investable, collectibles, Jack, Stacks, Coach's Magic was here. I am officially out of coffee for the morning. Investable says awesome coins. Thank you. Yeah, it was a pretty decent hunt. Well, like I said, we're going to talk about that 63 going forward on the channel for sure at some point. Because I think there's possibilities in this being actually what I think it is, so. Working on a second pot. Yeah, I'm gonna go get myself another cup here and end up logging some of these coins into my my Excel sheet that I keep and stuff, and the pile has to be separated into the decades so they can later be gone through on a scope stream, and possibly tonight, maybe possibly an after dark tonight for a scope stream. Sit and do 2 hours or so. I definitely don't want to go till 3 again. But anyways, I'm out of here. As always, Investable, Jack Stacks was here, coaches. Thanks for hanging out, guys. It was fun. Pretty good hunt. And as always, till the next one, take care and be well, guys.